GM, good morning. Welcome to the Milk Road Show, the daily crypto show that still believes, even if your last ounce of hope expired this week. I'm your host, Jay Hamilton. It's Wednesday, February 26th. We are live and the crypto markets are dead. No, I'm kidding. We're still alive, everybody. Don't freak out. We brought on Kyle Reidhead today, co-owner of Milk Road, because nobody brings us the calm in a storm like this guy. We're going to talk about what the F is going on in markets right now. I'll bet you're thinking about selling. I bet you're thinking about selling a lot. I bet you're thinking, is the bull market over? Are we cooked? You absolutely must tune in to today's episode to understand what is actually happening, what the charts are saying, what the data is saying, because there's a lot of noise out there, people, and do not get caught up in the noise. Also, Kyle's got a take on altcoin season that's very interesting that we're going to dive in today. I bet you a lot of you, if I were to tell you that altcoin season might be coming, you're probably going to be like, yeah, right, Jay, no chance. But Kyle's actually seeing some signs of an altcoin season coming, and it's in some analysis, in some charts. We're going to look at that today. Now, before we jump in, guys, it's a live show. So throw in your comments, ask your questions. We will take questions at the end of the show. If you're drinking a glass of milk, give me a cheers. Give me a what's up in the chat. Also, wherever you are listening, please subscribe, follow, like, and even better, if you want to throw a little cherry on top of your milk or maybe a little whipped cream, I don't know what you put on top of milk, chocolate milk, I don't know. Give us a 5-star review, please, assuming you actually think we're deserving of a 5-star review. But if you're here, I'm pretty sure you do. It really helps us grow. It helps the show out a lot. Today's episode is brought to you by Crypto.com. Check out their debit cards if you want to spend your on-chain dollars. Without further ado, Kyle, welcome to the Milk Road Show.
What is up, Jay? We are cooked. I'm not calm. I'm selling everything. I'm totally kidding. Of course, I'm not doing that.
Good stuff.
Jay, I just saw a comment that they can't see on
me.
YouTube. Oh, no, it looks like it's fixed. Maybe it's fixed now. I think we're all good.
Okay,
let us know in the comments. Can you see us? Does everything seem fine on the YouTube stream? Please let us know in the comments. I think it's fine, though.
Okay. Let's start at the top. What's going on right now, Kai? What's your take? What is happening?
Look, we're cooked. We're absolutely cooked. Just kidding. Look, I mean, it feels bad. I don't know. I was just talking about this in our pro. We just did like an AMA for our pro Discord, our pro members, and I don't know why, but this feels really bad for a lot of people. But then you look at Bitcoin, and like we're only down 21%, which is so par for the course for this space. Like, I'm gonna share screen here, Jay, if you want to pop it up. Is it this one? No, which one do we do here? Yeah, that one there. And like, so look, this looks ugly, the fact that it's out of this range, but honestly, it's not that big deal. This is only like a month and a half, 2-month long range. It's really not that big of a deal. Also, maybe we go up above it, but like to be down 21% and everyone be so scared just makes no sense. Okay, maybe it's 22%. Like, we did that 12 times in 2017. We did that 9 times in 2020 and 2021. So this is so normal. We've already gone down 20%, I think 5 times so far this cycle. So like, this really is not bad at all. Now, of course, ETH and Sol look a little bit worse here, right? We're down 49 or so percent in ETH. But guys, we were down way worse earlier in February, just 3 weeks ago. We were at 2150. And now we're at, what are we at now? 2400. So like, we've actually put in so far and we a higher low. We'll see what happens. But like, we were worse just a few weeks ago. And so it just doesn't really make sense. Solana, obviously, though, the big one at the moment, it's down quite a bit. It's down like 60%. And so, or maybe even a little bit more than 60%. So like, that feels bad. But as I was saying, just before this pump up to $300 didn't really make a lot of sense anyway. That was because of the Trump meme coin launch. And so that was like an anomaly. So you should just forget about that, right? And then in that world, we're not down terribly. Yes, we're down 50, 55% from there, but like also very, very normal. Every bull market, alts go down 50, 60, 70, 80%. Last cycle, Sol went down 70%. ETH went down 60%. Bitcoin went down 50 something percent last cycle, right? And so like twice last cycle. Like, let me just go, let's go back to Bitcoin and check this out. This is what doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. It's almost like people don't remember, but look at this move here in Bitcoin. We went from 67,000 down to 28,000, 50% down in 3 weeks. Not even, right? We haven't done anything close to that right now in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's down 21%. What is everyone panicking about? Okay. If I go to ETH was nuts during last cycle. Where is that? Right here. ETH went down from, I don't know, whatever that is, 4,000 and something down to, 1,600. It went down 62% in, again, like 3 weeks. And then it went back up a few months later. So like, it's just, this is normal. And then also in 2020, the same thing happened with the COVID dump. Twice we went down more than 50% in 2020, once in 2021. So like, to me, guys, this is all normal. And we have written so many reports saying, expect a 30% dip in Bitcoin. We haven't even got that yet. And so like, to me, it's like, I actually think there could be more pain because this isn't actual pain yet. Just everyone, I think, is probably too exposed to alts. Maybe that's why this feels so much worse. I'm not sure. Or just, I don't know, people just are expecting more. But like ultimately, we could easily go down to the 70s for Bitcoin, and that would just put us at a 30% pullback, which again happened like 5 times last cycle, and at least 5 times the cycle before that. So I just, unless you were holding meme coins that are down 99%, there's really not a lot of reason to panic right now. I understand it sucks, but we have been warning people for this entire cycle that this is going to happen. We're like, yo, you guys are going to make amazing gains in crypto over the next few years. We said this starting in 2023, but expect crazy pullbacks. And we're just in one of those. And just people get in their heads in these moments. So it makes it tough.
Why does it feel different though this time? It does feel different. You said that sort of at the beginning. I was thinking that Lark and I were talking about this the other day, not on camera, off camera. There hasn't been any sustained optimism in this bull run. We have only had like short moments of pump. Whereas like when you think back to 2021, remember we had like a 6-month period where it was just like everything was good. And we just haven't had that. Is that why? Is it everyone's expectations are misaligned?
It's 100% expectations. I also think it's like, a lot of people are a bit exhausted. They went through the cycle last time. They didn't sell at the top. And so they were excited for this cycle to be able to make their money. And it's just not what it used to be. But it's because we're growing up. This Bitcoin's been around for 15 years. We can't expect the same sort of returns we got in 2017 or even from last cycle. It just doesn't make any sense. And also, I think 2022 was tough, right? A lot of people, the bags didn't just go down, but like people were scared. Like FTX collapsed. The SEC's been all over this industry. Like we've gone through a lot. So like, I kind of get it, but at the same time, like we're fucking up a lot in the last 3 years. Like we are up a freaking ton. Bitcoin was down. It bottomed at $16,000 at the beginning of 2023 or the end of 2022, let's call it. And we're sitting here at 90K almost in 3 years. Not even. What are we so upset about? ETH was at $800, I think it even wicked below that at the same time. And now it's at whatever, 2,400. Sol was at $8. And I understand, like we went up to 300. What the fuck are we so mad at? Coinbase went up 700% in 2023 and another like 200% in 2024. We are on track. We are doing fantastic. There is nothing to be worried about. It's just all expectations. And I mean, it's because crypto's a lot of retail, newer investors. Dude, anyone getting these kind of results would be so ecstatic in the TradFi world right now. These results are nuts. And so I think gotta be patient. That's all.
Yeah, I think as well, it depends upon your portfolio. And if you came in November, December, you bought the top, you went down the risk curve, you were feeling the excitement, Trump got elected, you were like, it's on the everything bull run that everybody's talking about. And you made some bad bets at that point. And that I think is a lot of people's position.
You came in late in the cycle, although it's not late in the cycle yet, but you came in late in the pump, let's call it. You bought bad assets. You're a new investor, probably. A lot of people listening here, at least new in crypto, maybe. What did you expect? This is a game, a global game with some of the smartest people and smartest bots in the world that you're going up against. Did you expect to come in and win in your first month? You literally stepped into the NBA and it was your first time ever shooting a basketball and you thought you were going to beat Kobe Bryant and like LeBron James, that makes no freaking sense.
Yeah, I
right?
listened to some YouTube guy who told me it's really easy, Kyle. Come
I just
on.
mean like it takes time, right? You got to just the key thing. This is what I was just saying to the pro members earlier. Is like you have to spend time in this industry and learn, and like you got to go through the ups and the downs. You're in crypto because of volatility, right? Because the volatility upside is massive. That's why you're here, and so you have to be able to take the volatility on the downside. And then also because of volatility, you also got to manage your freaking portfolios properly. If you go 100% into Fartcoin, that's your fault. You lost. Of course you're feeling pain. That was stupid. But look, you're going to make more money in your life. Just learn from it. Come back, keep investing, and get smarter, get better. And think of this as a 10-year journey or a 15-year journey, right? Through your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, you should be building and investing. That's how life works. And then you can retire early because you've done that. Right. But if you just come in at age 27, you put in $5,000, it goes to zero, and then you leave and you never come back. Well, tough. You're working till you're 65 now, and you're probably not going to buy a house.
It's so hard to have the long-term view of I'm going to be able to retire early in this current moment for most people. But it's true. It's true. If you just slow down and take a step back and don't try to chase the big gains and think you're gonna, as you said, dunk on Kobe Bryant or whoever in your first time playing basketball.
I don't know
or
where the
IP
basketball's
Kobe,
came
miss
from.
you, brother.
Yeah.
But it's not possible. Okay, let's chat about a couple of things I want to chat about. You can decide which direction we go here. You want to talk about a lot of people talk about CEX market manipulation that's happening right now. You got any takes on that? Like, is that real? Like
I don't know, maybe, but this happens in all markets again. Like, yes, big whales are going to do things that are going to help their bags. Basically, what Jay is talking about is like when whales or people with a lot of crypto or a lot of whatever asset see weakness in a market and they see where all the liquidation numbers are, they'll sell a bunch of their capital and that'll push the prices down, liquidate a bunch of people, drive prices down even lower, and then they can buy back in, right? Very common in all markets. This happens all the time. So like, yes, is this happening? For sure it's happening. Is it just a centralized exchange that's doing this? Probably not even them doing it. It's probably like other whales, market makers. Citadel Securities is joining, which is the most aggressive trader in all of markets. So good luck. Like, this is only going to get harder, first of all. But like, yeah, this stuff happens, but who cares, right? Again, as long as you don't sell when markets are red, then like you're all good, because we know that more and more people are going to be on chain. And so that means Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, the good assets, not the shit ones, the good assets are going to grow and grow over time, just like the internet assets did, right? Amazon, Apple, Google, you name it. All these companies have just gone up and up and up for 25 years, 30 years in a lot of their cases, right? Now, did they have massive swings and massive pullbacks? 100%. Did people manipulate their stocks? 100%. Did they have frauds or like fire their CEOs? Did they have crisis moments? 100%. In the journey of this 30 years of Apple, Amazon, Google, and all that, we've had the dot-com bust, where the whole entire internet stocks went down 99%. We've had the great financial crisis. We've had COVID, and yet you're still up. You know, Amazon is up a gajillion %, and so is Apple, and so is Google, et cetera, et cetera. And so the same is going to happen with crypto, with the good assets, with the things that are here, that are continuing to build, that are getting network effects, and they are becoming platforms and important parts of this space, like Bitcoin and ETH and Solana and Coinbase. Like, who cares? This is all just noise. Just buy it and keep buying it, and then keep holding it, and you're going to do great.
Okay, I was going to ask you, is this the bottom? But I think that's a pointless question right now, because you're just going to tell me that nobody knows and that you should keep accumulating the good assets, what I'm guessing, unless you got another take. Please share.
So I don't know if it's the bottom. It's hard to call it when like we're still going down. Like, it's not like we've bottomed out yet and it seems to be chopping. We're still kind of, it's unsure at this point. I would say there are signs pointing to that it might be the bottom. If we want to share my screen, one of those signs is Benjamin Cohen has some nice charts, and he put out the bull market support band for Bitcoin, which we hit. We actually went below. We'll see what happens. But like, we obviously can go below it, as you see down here, but generally you hit above it. So we'll see what happens. So that's one of them. And then on the macro side, like, I think what's happening here really is people are getting afraid on the macro side because Trump. There's tariff talk, there's war talk, there's all this stuff going on. And then you got to remember that in November, there was all these promises about Trump taking crypto to the moon and taking the stock market to the moon. And now everyone's sitting there going, okay, here's the things he's doing. Is it actually going to work? There's a lot. Remember, like, you run a country, the most powerful country in the world. You got to negotiate. You got to go through tough times, just like any business, right? Like, you're not going to know what's going to happen right away, and the results aren't going to happen right away. But this is the market, right? They think Trump takes over in January and everything's going to change in January, and like, we're going to go to the moon. And it's like, no, it takes time to come up with regulation. It takes time to figure out, negotiate the tariffs and put the U.S. in a good position. It takes time to get rates lower and all these things. And so the market is so mixed and confused right now that they don't know what's going on. But I would say is, like, ultimately what I'm seeing in the market, when you just look at the data and forget about all the like headline news and stuff, things don't look that bad. I mean, I talked about the ISM. I'll pull that up if you want to pull up the chart. This is the business cycle chart, which, I showed this one last week. And, we're above 50. So that is a really good signal to me. If we look at the DXY, we're down a lot more than we were when Trump took office. When we were up at 110, we're down now to 106, back in this range. Will we continue to go down? I don't know, but it seems very likely that that's going to happen here. It's like, ultimately, things don't look that bad, in my opinion. And then what happened today? China started their first little bit of stimulus. We talked about this on the flash update as well.
China to the rescue. Save us, China.
I had the post up. Here it is. So China announces this morning that they're injecting, it's only 55 billion. It's not a lot, but this is the first batch, right? And so there's more to come here. And remember what I said at the flash update, the business cycle is just starting. I didn't say this in the flash update, but in my pro report that I put out on Saturday, I think everyone's eyes are focused on the Fed and them needing to print money and lower rates. And I think what really matters is we just need the dollar lower, and then China will print. And both of those things seem to be happening. And then Cross-Border Capital, or Michael Howell, who you've had on the podcast a bunch, tweeted this out today. He's like, look, it was expected that we get a pullback. We had been saying this since December. So we're in it still. And we've bottomed in liquidity, and liquidity is starting to rise now, both from China, from parts of the US, which Andreas talked about in the podcast. And so it's like, maybe we got a little bit lower to go if we're going to match this thing. Maybe not. I'm not sure, right? Like, we don't really know. So I don't know if we're at the bottom, but I know where we're going once we do bottom. And it's not into a bear market. It is into more of a bull market. That I can almost guarantee. I can't guarantee anything, but that makes the most sense when you just understand the data. Now, when that happens, I don't know. Is that today? Is that tomorrow? Is that next month? I am not sure there. I would imagine, though, in the next no longer than 2 months, we are on our way back up.
Really? You think so? You think so?
Yes. Because I think China is going to print money way sooner than
they have to. They have no choice. They're fucked.
Everyone's eyes are on the Fed. And yes, the Fed's not going to print money until maybe the second half of the year, if they even do. And we might not get much lower rates until the second half of the year. I get that. But it doesn't matter. We don't, like, here, look at this. Here's an interesting little factoid for you guys. Here's the 2016, 2017 bull market. I know many of you guys watching right now weren't there for that. But during that time, we had one of the craziest bull markets ever in crypto, right? This is when Bitcoin went from, I don't even know, hundreds of dollars up to $20,000 in like a year. It was crazy. ETH went insane amounts. We had this ICO boom. Everything went crazy. Here was the Fed's balance sheet during 2016, 2017. Zero. They did not participate at all. And in fact, the other thing everyone says, well, the Fed has to lower rates in order for us to get a bull market. Here was 2016, 2017. They were raising rates, right? And so, guys, we don't need the Fed to participate. In fact, they were actually doing more harm than good in 2017. And we had one of the craziest bull markets in crypto and in equities. This wasn't just a crypto thing. So we don't need the Fed to participate. All we need is the dollar to go lower, because that did happen during this time, right? We need the ISM to go up, because that did happen during this time. We need China to print, because that definitely happened during this time. And so I just think people are too focused on Trump and the Fed right now. And I think that will all get figured out, and probably takes the end of the year to get figured out, which means probably bullish news for the end of the year. But I think until then, we just don't need that stuff figured out. The rest of the world can drive our assets forward. So that's more what I look at right now.
Oh gosh, so such a calming effect coming over me right now. Altcoin season. Let's talk about altcoins. What's your take on altcoins? Are they are they completely cooked? And maybe give us a altcoins is probably the worst word to use because it basically is trying to classify every non-Bitcoin token. So feel free to give us a definition of altcoins as well.
Yeah, so I mean, altcoins is basically everything over Bitcoin, starting to outperform Bitcoin. So Bitcoin dominance goes down essentially. If you want to actually pull up my screen again, I'll just look at Bitcoin dominance here. We hit what everyone thought was a top back in November. You know, we went down like crazy. We went from Bitcoin dominance at 2% down to 54%. That was a pretty big move. And then we just skyrocketed back up. And back when ETH had that puke at the beginning of February, went all the way up to like 65% almost. We're down from there. That's a big wick. Will we recover from that? Will this Bitcoin continue to go up? I don't know, right? Like right now, the one thing holding up Bitcoin is Saylor. The guy's still buying $2 billion every like week, and no other alt has that. So like Bitcoin is held up very, very well as a result of that. And it's probably the only reason why Bitcoin is held up as strong as it has, to be completely honest. But even more so, what matters for altcoin season is the business cycle and liquidity, the ISM. So the ISM, whenever it goes above 50, that's when altcoin season starts. That's what's happened every single cycle so far. Okay. Again, people are really stuck on these 4-year cycles and the timing. And it's like, well, altcoin season started in January of, I don't know, 2021. And so that's when it has to start this time. And it hasn't because it's now February. So we're cooked. And it's like, listen, the timing is never the same. Fuck the timing. What matters is the data. And the ISM, just so you know what that means, when I say the business cycle is going up, the ISM above 50, that means we are growing. The economy is growing. The economy is flourishing. People are making money. Businesses are doing well. Earnings are good. And that means people go more risk on. And so in the stock market, previous to the ISM hitting 50, you have the majors that do well. Same with what we have here in crypto. Apple, Microsoft, they've done amazing over the last 2 years. And then the small cap stocks have done shit because people don't want to take that much risk. But when the ISM goes up and we're printing money and the business cycle is moving forward, then people take risk and you'll start to see small cap stocks do well. It's the same thing in crypto, right? Bitcoin, ETH, the majors do well. In this instance, mainly just Bitcoin. And then the alts, which are ETH and everything below it, they do better when the ISM picks up. And that's the world we're going into. That's what I'm trying to say. When the dollar goes down and China's printing, the ISM is moving up. That's the world where these things start to beat Bitcoin. And I think that is coming still. And so I don't think altcoin season is canceled. Now, do I think altcoin season is the same as others? No, I do think it might be a bit different this time around. And the reason for that is there's just different capital coming into this space. Look, ultimately, in the altcoin season, when we do go risk on, everything is gonna go up. Your meme coins, your shit coins, your dog coins, your whatever, they are also going to go back up. We're going to have that moment again, like we've had a few times already this cycle, where a bunch of dumb things happen and XRP goes to $3 and you're like, why? And you know, like whatever dog with hat goes to $5 or whatever the thing was at, 5 billion because it's got a hat on, and you're like, what? Or fart coin goes to 2 billion because hot air rises. It's like these dumb things that happen. That'll happen again for sure. But what I think is the best way to play altcoin season is, and what I think the narrative is really going to happen here this time around, is token buybacks. We haven't really had token buybacks for 2 reasons in the past. And that's because, one, it's kind of been illegal or just like uncertain if we could turn that on. And so a lot of companies in this space or protocols in space don't do it because they don't want to be called a security. And then the second thing is we just haven't had a lot of apps that make any money in this space because the space likes to build a lot of dog shit instead of real shit. And so for the last 10 years, we haven't had anyone making any money. So no one could buy back their tokens, right? If anything, the only thing they could do was sell their tokens or airdrop their tokens. And so there's just more and more supply being put in the market. And this is the first cycle where we actually have protocols that generate real revenue, and not just a little bit of revenue, but like hundreds of millions of dollars a year in revenue. And remember, these protocols don't have thousands of employees like Coinbase does or every other company does. They have a few, or in some cases they have 0, right? One of Maker Sky's goals by the end of just this year is to have 0 expenses. And because they're outsourcing all the expenses to the sub DAOs, right? That's not normal. That's a weird situation, right? 0 expenses. It doesn't need to make billions of dollars like Apple does to be profitable. It could make $100 million and it would be $100 million in profit. That's a bit insane. And so what do they do with that profit? Well, they can buy back their token. Why would they buy back their token? Well, it benefits the investors, sure. But we got to remember, Sky holds in their treasury Sky tokens. And the team members and the founder, they hold Sky tokens. And so everyone wants these protocols to use their profits to buy back the tokens. And what's the best marketing in crypto? Number go up. And so what do you think these protocols want to do? They want the number of the tokens to go up. And so the protocols that have revenue, I think, are going to start buying back tokens. We've just seen it with Maker start this week. For those of you who haven't seen, the best performing asset this month is Maker. It's the only green asset in this entire space. And it's happening because it's buying its tokens back. And Jupiter is starting to do the same. We just saw the Uniswap case get dropped from the SEC, along with Robinhood and Coinbase and whoever the other one was. So most of those are going away, which is starting to free up these protocols, these companies to start to do this. And I think that's going to be a massive narrative in the rest of the year here. Now, which tokens are going to do that, we don't know, but you got to look for the ones generating revenue, right? Which mainly is like the DeFi world right now. I'm sorry, but your AI tokens and all this other stuff, it's all just narrative. There is no revenue. There's nothing going on there in fundamental wise. And so I don't think they'll be buying back tokens anytime soon.
Virtuals can't buy back with their $2,000 of revenue per day right now.
I mean, they were kind of trying to start doing something like that when they were making a lot of money. Now they're cooked, but that's fine.
I just want to come back to the ISM quickly because this is we haven't talked a ton about the ISM on this show, but it is a really important data point to look at, particularly because this is the first time it's been above 50 in 3 years. So that's a significant milestone for it to be above 50. And just so everybody understands, like basically what the ISM is it's a piece of data where this organization calls a bunch of manufacturers and businesses across America, and they say, hey, what is your current inventory like? Are you ordering more inventory? Are you planning for growth in the economy and growth in your business? Or are you shrinking and planning for a decrease? And right now what they are seeing is everybody is planning for growth. Everybody is setting up with this belief that we're going to spend more capital, we're going to buy more, we're going to load up on our inventory. That's what the ISM says. And usually when all the businesses are doing that, they're doing that because they believe that the economy is stable, because they believe it's a good time for growth. And so it's a key indicator.
And so this is it here. This sort of blue line, you can track it on TradingView. It only comes out once a month, so like it's not updating on a daily basis or anything like stocks are or crypto. But look at this is why we've had this bit of a weird cycle. It's because this took a long time to get back above 50. Look at so this is every cycle we've had previously, right? If you want to look at in crypto, we had a big bull market in 2013, 2014. Look at what the ISM did. Boom. Right? We had a big bull market in 2016, 2017. Look at what the ISM did. Boom. We had a big bull market in 2020, 2021. Look at what the ISM did. Okay. Like it's pretty obvious. And then we had a big bear market in 2015. Boom. We had a big bear market in 2018. Boom. We had a big bear market in 2022. Boom. Okay. But usually it's pretty quick and sharp to kind of come down below 50 and then jump back up. This was the first time in a long time since like the great financial crisis that it's taken multiple years, right? We also had a weird one here with COVID because it started to go up and then COVID happened. So obviously we shut down all the economies. It went to like basically zero and then shot up from there. And so this is, I think, the most important thing to watch, but there's a few things you need for this. And I think people are a little bit scared about growth in the US because of Trump, right? They're not sure what these tariffs are going to do. Is that going to slow down the economy? Can Elon cut the budget deficit enough? If they're not, if they're still, the Fed is not printing and the rates are still high, are we going to be able to get the ISM high enough, right? And I think like according to all the managers, and if you look at the leading indicators of this, there's a bunch of leading indicators that I showed in our pro reports. So definitely go check those out. It's like skyrocketed up here. It's predicting this just to go way up here, right? Which generally it does do that when it goes above. So that's kind of my interpretation of where markets are going to go. And I think liquidity will follow that.
Okay. What do you do as an investor right now? What's your strategy? How do you play this unknown of these next weeks, months?
Yeah, look, people got to get rid of the short-termism and the get rich quick stuff. You're never going to win in this space if you do that. You're never going to win. And I know everyone wants to get rich fast, but I promise you, you will not get rich fast in crypto. It's not, if I could bet on that, I would bet on that before betting on Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like, I'm more confident that every person here listening right now won't get rich quick in crypto than Bitcoin going to 200,000. I'm sorry, but it's just true. And even myself, I say that because like, I'm confident that even myself, I won't get rich quick. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have been in this space for a long time and I've still made a ton of mistakes. The only thing that I've done that's actually allowed me to do really well in the space is I just kept buying and I never sold. You know what I mean? Like, I just took all these punches of all these big pullbacks and just kept going through it. And that's crazy to do, but like, that's how you do it. We're in this huge pullback right now, but my portfolio of crypto is up massively. And it exists mainly in majors, but it's up massive because I've been buying for freaking 7 years. You know what I mean? And look, when I first got in, I also thought I was going to get rich in 3 months. And then I quickly learned that that's not going to freaking happen.
Me too. And then I lost a lot of money.
Yeah, right. We all do. And that's fine. But the thing is getting rich in 10 years, or let's not say the word rich, but like making multiples on your dollars in multiple years, 5 years, 10 years is pretty damn good, right? Like, let's say you can save up $100,000 over a few years and you can just consistently put that in markets. Every year that goes up 100, 150% on average. If you just stay in this market and you keep buying majors, if you happen to luck out on some alts, maybe you can get that up to a little bit more. You do that for 10 years and you got $10 million, right? So, because it compounds, right? And so like over 10 years, if it goes up 100% each year, that's not 1,000%. That's, I don't even know what that number is, 10,000%, right? So it's a lot more. And so if you just stick around and keep getting these pretty crazy gains that you get in crypto, it's not that difficult. And so what I would say is in these moments, the hardest thing that I think for people as investors is we suck at controlling our emotions. It is the thing that makes us mess up the most, right? We're terrible at managing our emotions. And that is why most people sell when the charts turn red and they buy when the charts turn green. I put out a call earlier this month on a token and I said, I think this thing's going to rip. And it did. Okay. It did. It almost doubled. It's the only asset that's done well in the last month. And at whatever price I said to buy it at, people were like, okay, cool. And then all of a sudden it doubles. And now everyone's like, hey, Kyle, should I still buy this thing? And I'm like, guys, the thing just went up 100%. I don't know. Like, sure, long term, I think it's going to do well, but like, probably it's going to pull back. It just went up 2x. But this is just we struggle to manage our emotions. We get greedy. We get FOMO, and it makes it really, really hard to be an investor. And so, like, zoom out, hold majors, like, just chill and don't get so overworked. And honestly, the most important thing you do is build conviction, learn. Read pro reports, read books about investing, read books about markets, go use crypto, right? Like listen to podcasts, like consume, and build conviction. Because once you have conviction, when an asset goes down 50%, instead of you thinking it's over, I'm going to zero, I should sell, you're like, well, this doesn't make any sense because this is a really cool product. I'm just going to buy more of that. You know what I mean? It's like, the amount of times that Apple went down 30, 40, 50% over the last 25 years. And if you just used a MacBook or an iPhone, you were like, well, I'm not selling my iPhone or throwing that out. So why is the price down 50%? Do you know what I mean? Like Apple didn't get worse. If anything, they just launched AirPods and iTunes and all the, like I'm using Apple more and more in my life. I should probably buy more if it's down 50%. And so the same thing here is like, are you going to use more and more things on chain or less in the coming years? My guess is probably more. And so when the on-chain world goes down by 50%, that seems like it's a bargain, right? Not a time to sell, but it's hard to reframe your mind to do that. It's very, very difficult. And so the most important thing is stay in majors because that'll limit the volatility, and then just work on your mind, work on your conviction, and that'll change everything for you. And moments like today or this last week where things have been red, you're actually just trying to buy. You're trying to figure out what should I be buying. And then also the most important thing is that when we go into bear markets like we did in 2022, don't leave. That's the problem is 90% of the industry left. And I know this because we run a marketing agency and a media company, and we work with a lot of crypto, and we saw the user base of all the media companies in crypto go down by like 70, 80, 90%. The user base of the protocols went down 70, 80, 90%. And now a lot of you people have come back that prices are up. You missed all the best times to buy. You miss all the best times to learn, to network, to get a job if you want, to connect if you want. Like, you missed all the best moments to do well as an investor, as an entrepreneur, as whatever it is, because you left when things got bad. And that's the worst thing you could possibly do. And so we're going to have a bear market probably in the next 12 to 18 months starting. The best thing you can do, again, thinking long-term, stick around in that moment, keep buying, keep learning, build conviction, and prepare for the next 4 or 5 years, because that's where the big money is made. If you're coming in late to a cycle like you are now, you can still make money, but not a lot of money. But if you were here in 2023 and you were buying, as I said earlier, Bitcoin at 16,000 or ETH at $800 or Solana at $8, these pullbacks don't matter. You fucking made it over the last 3 years. But you're never going to do that if you leave every time things get difficult. So that's, no investor has ever done really well unless they've stuck around and done it for, like Warren Buffett, the best investor in the world, has been doing it for 70 fucking years or 80 years, right? And so there's your answer. Just stick around and keep learning, keep getting better. It's a game.
Yeah. And it's a game that is becoming more and more controlled by institutions and smart money who, as you said at the beginning of this episode, are going to outplay a lot of us. And so don't get caught up in it. Don't get caught up in the day-to-day of it. We're not, unless you want to go become a professional trader, all the power to you, but be prepared. You better have zero emotions because it's an absolute roller coaster. And on your point about emotions too, I think this is a time when it is okay to sell if you feel like you can't sleep, like you're stressed beyond belief. You can't tell your partner what's going on. You don't want to talk to anybody because you're so embarrassed. Like, if you are at that point, it's okay to sell to cash or to chill out or to take a break or reallocate your portfolio to rebalance. I know you don't like selling to
don't
cash.
Sell, rebalance. That would be a terrible idea. Rebalance.
Is the better move. Yeah.
Because if you're in Bitcoin, like, you're not sleeping in it. You're fine. 20% pullback is nothing. That happens in the just stock market. You're only not sleeping and embarrassed, et cetera, because you bought Fartcoin at $2 billion market cap. So hell yeah, you should be embarrassed. And yeah, you should definitely sell that now and go buy something else. Even if Fartcoin might come back, it doesn't matter. Why would you do that to yourself? It makes no sense, right? If you want to put 1% of your portfolio in Fartcoin, fine. But like, it makes zero sense.
Okay. Last thing I want to talk about before we let you go today, Kai.
Well, is there questions? Are we answering any questions? Thought we were doing a bit of a Q&A here.
We did. We had a few questions come in. A lot of people talking about Sol. I mean, if we want to talk, let's take some Sol questions. So a lot of people asking, is it a good time to load up on Sol? A lot of people talking about the decline in new wallets happening over on Sol. Our friend Michael Nadu from the DeFi Report, we've had him on the show a bunch of times. I think we're actually getting him back on next week. He did a report recently and said that there was a 53% decline in new wallets in the past month on Sol. Is that a concern? Does that mean that shows that Sol really is driven by all these meme coins, and meme coins have gone down a lot? So is that a concern? Let's talk about Sol for a second.
Yeah, look, I think the whole market is going down in new users at the moment. Coinbase was down in new users, even in Q4, right? In its earnings, it was down from the quarter before that. And that was the most bullish quarter we've had in a long time. And so, yeah, retail has left over the last month and a half because we've been in a bit of a bear market since the beginning of December. That always happens. Every time price goes down, people leave. I just went on a rant telling people not to do that because that's what happens all the time. And so all blockchains are down in numbers at the moment. So now Solana is down a little bit more, but that's again because it had that anomaly where it went up so crazily, right? It went up too much. And so again, it's not as bad as it seems. And then also, like, if you look at the new mints in terms of pumped up fund, like, they're still pumping out 40,000 tokens a day over there on pumped up fund. So like, it's not over and it's not at zero. Do you know what I mean? Like, things are still happening over there. And then I know meme coin activity was was the main activity over on Solana. And so that sort of is what expectations are, is like, well, if meme coins go away, then Solana is going to go away. One, that's probably not going to happen. There's other things happening on Solana. It's got stable coins. It's integrated into Stripe, et cetera. Like, there's still a lot of things happening on Solana. It's got DPIN, it's got AI agents, it's got all the things. It just, meme coins had a bit of a moment, right? Just like Ethereum at one point had the ICO boom. Well, ICOs went away and ETH is still thriving. You know, NFTs was the big thing last cycle. That basically has gone away. and everything's still all good, right? So like, I just don't think that these things, even Solana was starting to get a momentum on NFTs last cycle, and no one touches NFT trading anymore. And look, the next thing, Solana found the next thing in meme coins, and it'll find the next thing in probably AI agents or whatever. And so like, I just, again, are more people going to come on chain or not over time? And the answer is more. And so like, not really concerned. Solana has massive network effects, the fastest growing developer community. And so I'm really not worried. Do I think Sol's a good buy here? Yeah, absolutely. If it gets down to 120, 125, then it's a hell of a buy. But I mean, we're at 135, still a hell of a buy. I'm not really concerned about Solana whatsoever. I get it sucks. Going down to 65% sucks. But like, again, this has happened many times before in various assets. So not really too much of a concern.
This just happened. Shout out to Lion Wolfie who just posted this in the chat. So Trump just announced 25% tariffs on the EU. Oops, wrong screen here. More tariffs. This doesn't mean tariffs are actually happening on the EU. This is Trump being Trump and putting out a lot of fear and negotiation tactics. You concerned about this and the ongoing never-ending tariff talk?
No, I'm not. I've been saying all along, I'm not concerned about tariffs at all. It's completely a negotiating tool. We saw it here in Canada where he threatened it, and then literally 24 hours later, Trudeau folded and did what he needed to do. Now I know that, there's still talks there, and it still might come. But again, this is all just negotiating tools. This is how it works, this is why the market is so spooked, because they don't know what's happening. Some people don't like his tactics of doing this. Of course, it sucks. But like, this is how it works doing business, right? Especially when your business is running a country of hundreds of millions of people, and there's trillions of dollars of trade that's at stake here. Like, this shit matters. And so he's got to do what he's got to do. Now, could this cause problems? Of course it could. But like, generally, Trump doesn't want to see the stock market tank or the US economy tank. And so like, is he really going to do these things? Like, probably not. I think it's just all negotiating tactics. So again, we got to have some patience. We got to let this market turmoil just kind of get figured out, which is going to take time. And this is why I say I don't know when the bottom is, because you just never know what's going to happen in the geopolitical sense, right? And so we just got to wait. Be patient. And probably it's going to bring, I don't know what's going on in markets right now. I haven't looked, but like, probably it's just going to bring
86K Bitcoin. We're nuking again here. I mean, which isn't a surprise. This news, as you said, completely spooks markets. Couple people asking about DEXs on Solana, Radium, Jupiter, Drift, Cloud Camino, etc. You like those trades? I mean, I know you like DeFi a lot.
Yeah, I mean, so Radium did extremely well because of meme coins. And so I haven't looked recently, but the revenues were super high. The token was doing quite well. I'm going to imagine if I was to look right now that Radium is down bad, and probably its revenues are down bad too. I don't know. I haven't looked. It makes sense with the market. And so does that mean Radium's done because meme coin trading is potentially slowing down? And again, I say potentially because it all could come back, right? Like, we don't know. Meme coins died at one point and then came back, and now they've died again. And will they come back? Like, let's see. Maybe it's not meme coins anymore. It's AI agents, right? Like, there's still going to be people trading. There's still going to be people coming on chain. So DEXs, I think, are great business models. Now, here's the thing. If the revenue has gone down a ton, Radium, but the token hasn't, probably not a good buy, right? But if the token has, or even it's gone down even more than revenue because people are spooked, it's often what happens, maybe it's a good buy. I think DEXs are great businesses. They generate tons of revenue. They're the most integral thing that we do on chain. Everyone needs to use a DEX. And so if you can find the one that's going to win out, then yeah, it's great. Jupiter, for example, is buying back its own tokens and burning them right now, right? It's generating good revenue. It's a great product, has all the users. So yeah, I love DEXs. You just got to find the ones that make the most sense.
One more question from the chat here. Marcus, great question. Going to bring this one up. So Marcus asked, what do you think about May 2025? So with alts being down so bad right now, will we have this recovery as we typically would around, are we going to have a tax season? Are we going to have like an April, May pump and then a summer lull as we did last year, and then a Q3, Q4 blow off top, maybe going into 2026. What's your thought?
I mean, I don't know. We'll have to just see how the markets play out, right? Like typically that's what happens. It's what's happened the last 2-3 years here in crypto, where we've ran up in the first quarter or the early part of the second quarter of the year. And then we've kind of chopped for months during the summer. We did it in 2023. We did it in 2024. And then we ripped in Q4. It's happened the last 2 years straight, which is quite interesting. Will that happen this year? I don't know. I mean, if we just chop around for a few months here, then maybe we have a good summer, and change things up a little bit. It could happen. But my guess is in the next month or two, we have some big upside for, a month or two. I don't know, however long. And then probably we chop in the summer as well. And then I think we do well at the end of the year. It kind of always happens. So I don't see why it would be any different this time around. Just because, we've had a rough February. Februarys generally aren't the best anyway for crypto markets. We'll see what happens here in March. I can't imagine we're going to go much lower than we are. So generally it's probably good news.
Let's go March. Let's go March. Feeling good about March. Everybody put out the good vibes for March. Kai, thanks so much for joining us today. Everybody, thanks for showing up live. 750 people live. We look at it. The crypto market's down and we are hitting all-time highs in live. We've only been going live. This is our third live, I think. And it's great to see everybody showing up. We greatly appreciate you. If you guys are here, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you get our daily updates every day. We got some great guests coming up over the next week. We'll be live again next Wednesday at the same time, same place. Thanks so much for joining in, everybody. Have a wicked awesome day.